In the previous sections, I covered pesticide residues, their effects on health and the environment, and residue tolerance. In this section, I will explain how pesticide residues are monitored in California. To protect consumers, pesticide residues are monitored by various federal and state agencies. All food sold in the U.S. must meet the same safety standards. The California Department of Pesticide Regulation, DPR, collaborates with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, and the Federal Food and Drug Administration, FDA, to monitor pesticide residues on raw food, on both imported and domestic products, and in groundwater. The agencies share monitoring results and cooperate on investigations. The California Pesticide Residue Monitoring Program, run by DPR, is considered to be the most extensive state residue monitoring program in the nation. DPR conducts random, unannounced inspections to sample both domestic and imported produce close to the point of consumption. Samples of raw commodities off the shelves from packing sites, wholesale, retail, and farmers markets are sent to the California Department of Food and Agriculture, CDFA, where they are screened and analyzed with equipment that can detect more than 300 pesticides and their breakdown products. Results are usually available within 24 hours. All residues initially identified are verified using more advanced detection methods. From CDFA's pesticide analysis and taking into account pesticide degradation during transit and storage, DPR determines if the pesticide residues are legal, below the tolerance, or illegal, above the tolerance, or from unapproved pesticide uses. California, together with several other states, participates in the USDA Pesticide Data Program. DPR carries out the program operation in California. The Pesticide Data Program publishes summary reports of findings for each calendar year. EPA uses the data generated by the Pesticide Data Program to more accurately estimate dietary pesticide exposure. The results of state and federal residue monitoring programs show that imported produce violates residue limits more frequently than does domestically grown produce. An illegal residue is uncommon, but if it occurs, investigators track it to the source. For domestically grown produce, if the crop is still in the field, DPR stops the harvest. If the illegal crop is in the channels of trade, DPR immediately removes the illegal produce from sale. DPR then traces its distribution throughout California, imposing quarantines on particular lots and conducting additional sampling as needed. No further movement of the questionable produce or similar produce from the same source can move until the laboratory verifies that they are free from illegal residues. DPR also verifies that the produce is either destroyed or returned to its source. Farmers who violate the law may face the loss of a crop that costs them tens of thousands of dollars to grow. They are also subject to civil and criminal prosecution, fines, and other penalties. The results are published annually on the DPR website. In 2014, DPR reported that of all imported and domestic produce samples collected and tested, a little over 52% had residues that were within the legal limits, and approximately 41% had no detected pesticide residues at all. About 5.5% of the samples had illegal residues of pesticides not approved for use on the specific crop, and only about 1% had illegal residues that exceeded the established legal limit. For all of the California produce that was tested, DPR reported that 96.4% of all the samples were within the legal limit, and for all U.S. grown produce, 97.5% were in compliance with U.S. EPA tolerances. Although most of California produce is free of illegal residues, there have been cases where a pesticide not registered for a specific crop had been used, resulting in crop destruction and loss. Cilantro, spinach, and strawberries are just a few crops where this has happened. A California strawberry grower was fined $15,000 and ordered to destroy 10 acres of strawberries worth about $200,000. Why? After routine testing of strawberries being sold in retail stores, the California Pesticide Residue Monitoring Program detected pesticide residues from methamyl. Methamyl is not registered for use on strawberries. There is no tolerance for methamyl on strawberries, and any residue found is illegal. That is just one situation where you can have an illegal residue. Another situation would be if there is a tolerance established for the commodity for that active ingredient, but you've exceeded that tolerance. Here are several pesticides that are all registered for crops in California. However, when sampled, residues were found to have exceeded the established tolerance. These may be unintentional, but the result is the same. There are illegal residues and the crop must be destroyed. Remember, using pesticides labeled for the targeted crop at appropriate label rates and following all label instructions assures that your crop will not have illegal residues. Now, let's watch a video describing how DPR conducts pesticide residue monitoring. This will give you an overview of the program and shows how DPR staff collect and analyze samples.